My name is Sai Prasad Mahapatra. I had covered Indian cricket, domestic as well as international, spanning over a career of 12 years for various networks like ESPN, Star Sports, Hindustan Times, and have contributed articles to many other such outlets in the space of news and feature. Today we are going to talk about 5 such literary work that has lent great insights, revelations, and sort of a great illuminating work around the game of cricket. First up, I should put up a disclaimer that this is by no means a ranking-based evaluation of these 5 books. They are important literary work. And what I mean by important literary work, that it has gone beyond the statistics, the batsmanship, the character of players to explore its location, lending cricket a sense of location in our life, in our society, in our culture, its growth, and how it has evolved from a village game to such a maddening TV game that is affecting our life. Of the 5 books that we're going to talk about today, this one, Corner of a Foreign Field by Ramchandra Guha, is a masterpiece, a colossus, so to say. As you know, Ramchandra Guha is an eminent historian of our time who has extensively written on society, polity, history, all put together. He has an incredible, refreshing voice of sanity. This work must have taken some years and years of rigor, some really humongous research to bring forth such a thick book encapsulating Indian context in which the game has found its deep root in our society, in our culture, in our politics, so and so forth. Ramchandra Guha, in its mission, in its quest to find out how exactly this foreign game imported from outside, played mostly by the Britishers, found its acceptance, and so much so that it became a religion. In that sense, has gone on to explore where it all started. It's not about India's win in 1971 against England or the West Indies, or 1983 that culminated with Kapil Dev winning the World Cup for India. It can be 2 summits of excellence, but what exactly led to this passionate, maddening following of the game in the country? In this quest, he has gone to discover how actually the communal nature of the tournament that was played during the Raj period, how it was the Muslims, the Hindus, the Parsis, the Europeans, they were engaged in a tournament which was basically communal in nature. And to its origin, how people of India were trying to mimic the lifestyle of the Europeans, looking up to the game, using cricket as a vehicle to elevate their social status so that they can announce to their rulers that they in fact have arrived in life. So in this quest, he has some fascinating discovery of how it all started in Bombay, where the Parsis took up the game, then subsequently followed by the Hindus, the Muslims, and that led to a pentagonal tournament. But this is also a curious mix of politics, how it melded with cricket, when he goes on to discover India's first ever hero, who happens to be a Dalit left-arm bowler, Palwankar Ballu, and his emergence as a sporting hero, how Mahatma Gandhi got embroiled in a cricket politics when Ballu was pitted against the stalwart of Dalit emergence, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, in an electoral contest. He has also gone on to explore India's first cricket 6-hitting hero, Colonel C.K. Naidu, and his position in the context of the colonial rule, though he was from a very privileged background. But how sort of 6-hitting ability was seen mostly as India's arrival as a social parity with the rulers. It would remain as a very significant work of cricket research through a beautiful style of writing that is equally entertaining and scholarly. One such writer who got inspired by Ramchandra Guha, a very talented writer and perhaps one of the best in the world, Rahul Bhattacharya, has written about his experience in his India's tour to Pakistan. He was traveling there as a reporter. His name, the book is Pundits from Pakistan. This is a quirky title to which he has his own reason. I'm not going to spell out because that he considered many titles but chose this one for a reason that is specified in the book. But to give a context of this book the book happened in the backdrop of India and Pakistan not playing cricket with one another for good 15 years nearly. And then suddenly in 2004, the Vajpayee government started peace dialogue with their counterpart in Pakistan. As a part of that goodwill gesture, as a part of peace and harmony, the Indian team started, the initiative of going to Pakistan, and the tour happened. In fact, that was a glorious tour in which India won both the one days and the test series. But Rahul Bhattacharya, during that tour, examined Pakistan society and tried to see the commonality between these two countries, the traces of partition. He found the scars of some of the players on either side of the divide, Lala Amarnath and Fazal Mahmood of Pakistan. They were good friends, how they both nearly faced a death scenario. They've been escaped by the circumstances or through their luck. All along, he explored the match that was happening in a very extended canvas, because the reporting that leaves a very limited scope in print or in television, which does not allow the descriptive part of the game, the beauty of the game to be explained. He gone on to explain this in a far more beautiful landscape he has presented Pakistan. He also gone on to trace some of the players who have been contributing force in Pakistan's cricket all along. It is a part travelogue, one can say. Some of the places he stayed, some of the places he explored. The beauty, the rhythm, the color, the pulse, the aspirations of the higgledy-piggledy of the mundane Pakistani life he brought forth. It smelled so good in that sense, as you feel you are part of that ride. Since we're talking about Pakistan, it is incumbent that we talk about Pakistan cricket also in another light. That's the literature that has one of the finest that has emerged from Pakistan is the Unguired ones by Osman Samiuddin, one of the finest writers. He has gone on to explore his own country, its arrival as a cricket nation, as a powerful cricket nation. All along, he has, in a very dispassionate way, in a very humorous way, has tried and explored Pakistan cricket. As we know, how Pakistan cricket oscillates between two extremes of brilliance and ordinariness. They can be extremely brilliant on one day and they can be downright ordinary the next. So as they say, you don't know which Pakistani side wakes up on which side of the bed the day you meet them. To best illustrate how the transformation had happened in Pakistan cricket, Osman has gone on to explore two towering personalities behind this transformation. One, of course, is their first cricket captain, an Oxford graduate from a very well-heeled family, a pedigreed cricketer called Abdul Hafiz Kardar, the man behind the change you see in Pakistan cricket starting from the 50s till the establishment of the cricket board. The emergence of a primal force in the 70s called Imran Khan, who sort of brought an attitudinal and behavioral change among the Pakistani cricketers that has gone on to reach the summit by winning the 1992 World Cup. All along, Osman has tried to bring forth some of the machinations of the cricket board, where, as we know, one captain is always unsure how the teammates are conspiring to oust him. And there was one point of time where the Pakistan team had some 7 captains playing in a match all at a time. And so that's the kind of a society which is reflective of the unpredictable uncertainty that the nation itself has gone through their long extended regime of military rule and dictatorship. The cricket is somehow reflective as a microcosm of their society. And in this effort, Osman has explored and brought forth some of the lesser known unsung heroes or lesser known heroes to some of the players who have contributed massively. At the same time, he also highlighted what sort of temptations that leads to player in Pakistan bringing defame to the country in the form of match fixing or the allegations of ball tampering around which. So this is an honest account and a very well-researched account of Pakistan's cricket as a nation and some of the voices which is important in popularizing cricket, namely the commentators. They also have found a mention in this book. Another very fascinating cricket country, the West Indies, and this is a classic, is a masterpiece, Beyond the Boundary by C.L.R. James. C.L.R. James was a first-class cricketer, but a scholar who had no match, so to say, for his time. And he, with his training as a journalist, as a historian, has gone on to explore the deep relations that cricket had in his society, where it was in the backdrop of the imperial rule, the colonial time, have found and used it effectively, and how the whites in particular, were seeing the black cricketers as such, that even the captaincy was not given to them. So C.L.R. James, using his fine, incisive, analytical lens, scrutinized the relations between two countries when he moved to the United Kingdom as a correspondent and writes for one newspaper there. His continuation from two standpoints, how he sees the world through some of the sporting heroes. He makes a very dispassionate and very well-meaning comparison between Don Bradman, the unmatchable batsman of the era and perhaps still today, with one George Headley, who was called the Black Bradman because of his consistency, because of his dominance in batting. He goes on to write how they sort of felt an emancipation when 1961 tour in Australia, 500,000 people thronged to Melbourne to give the winning West Indies team a rousing send-off. That sort of liberated them, and seeing how more and more acceptance came their way. So C.L.R. James has taken a beautiful parallel to Rudyard Kipling and goes on to say, what do they know of cricket, who cricket only know? And the next book I have read, but it's not with me. It is a cricket fiction by a Sri Lankan writer, very talented. He's a novelist. He calls himself a failed cricketer, though Srihan Karunatilake. He has written this award-winning cricket fiction called Chinaman, the Legend of Pradeep Matthew. He writes about one freak genius, a fictional character though, a freak genius, a left-arm Chinaman bowler who is capable of bowling this mysterious double dance ball, which he refers to. But all along, his story is touching how a retired journalist, drunk, almost on the verge of self-destruction, he goes on to find where exactly this talented cricketer disappeared. All his record sort of disappeared from the firmament of cricket in Sri Lanka. And in this exploration, the story meanders through kidnapping, the story meanders through a murder, and eventually how that protagonist got found in a very fascinating place. I'm not going to give out because this is exactly what is a hook of the book. It is a sort of a parallel storytelling of what was happening in Sri Lankan life in the backdrop of the civil war. They fought long and hard. The emergence of the LTT, the role of the IPKF, and so on and so forth. So Srihan Karunatilake, in a very ultra-urban, stylish narrative, has put across this book, a masterpiece in front of the world. And to many people's surprise, this book actually won many significant literary awards, not talking about cricket award or cricket literature award, significant literary awards across the world and very well received. So why I chose deliberately these 5 books, because it's around the game which is not the national game. It got imported, played by the colonial rulers. How it sort of became a game of their own. So much so that there is so much of passion around that, which is why I chose not to talk about some of the books which is been written outside the subcontinent and the Caribbean, because in any case they are a very advantaged position of telling the story, the Britishers, the Australians, the South Africans, but in no way this is any less classic or any less insightful compared to those books. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thank you.